Peace and grand rising to my collective of Free as Fuck University. Today I rose up and I felt good, I didn't have to trade today. It's Friday. Oh, you get to sleep in interrupted. It's always a great feeling. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I get the best sleep because we're not trading. Shout out to all my traders out there. It doesn't matter if you're trading options, futures, stocks, forex, crypto. Shout out to y'all because y'all are the new leaders of the world. I wanted to talk about something today. I started to read and get into, my morning rituals. I usually read the word a little bit. I'm doing, reading plans through there just to kind of keep my mind sharp. It gives me a form of encouragement that I acknowledge, and I'm going to do what I do to help myself. But, I was looking at my WhatsApp story, and I had posted my personal year in review because I really have been on the go since September 2023 on the Gregorian calendar. And I reminisce often about my trip to Dubai in February for the WCA World Conference, which is a logistics and shipping conference for an association called the WCA, which my company was a part of, and I was the sponsored delegate for the United States. And it was some of the best times that I had, even though I was working 9 of the 10 days that I was there. It was a great time. So just reflecting on my year and all of the traveling that I did, because I was so on the go this year. And realizing that I had finally met my mentors, Troy and Rashad from Earn Your Leisure. And it got me thinking today, an incident had happened to me, which I'll refrain from sharing on the internet streets. And it really affected me because my net worth was no longer the same. And I was like, how do you value yourself? Because while the items that I had may no longer allow me to be a millionaire based upon my net worth, I don't think that I ever lost, I won't say the dollar amount, but I don't think I ever lost X amount because I still have intellectual property. And I started really looking into valuation, and when I looked up Earn Your Leisure valuation, their episode from Drink Champs came on with 19 Keys, and they were going down describing net worth. And one of the things that was said was during Ye's exit from Adidas, he lost his billionaire status. So allegedly he lost $1.6 billion in valuation, which removed his billionaire status. And 19 Keys was like, well, did he really? Because that's based upon their valuation, their standards. It's not necessarily the value of what he truly has or his IP, intellectual property. Which is facts. Because if I look at Ye catalog right now, I'm like, nah, 808s and Heartbreaks took the game. Even College Dropout, man, if you want to go back to that, there was so many classic albums by Ye for a long time. Every album that he dropped was straight caliente. And it's given Jay vibes, and that was mentioned in the interview. They were basically saying, I don't know if it was Keys or if it was Troy no, it was Keys. And he was like, think about Timbaland. He was saying how Jay-Z's valuation could be $60 billion, whereas based upon, his IP, based upon his mind, not for the physical that he may have, real estate, spirits, the agency, Rock Nation, all of this stuff. So it's like, when you really think about it, how do we really value ourselves so now that we could take advantage of your own value? So I took to Google, and of course AI, well, I use DuckDuckGo. I won't even say Google. So I took to DuckDuckGo, and lately they've been offering AI blah, 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 which I hate. An AI overview. And it says, how do you value yourself? Because that was my question. And here are the items. There are 7 items for the number of perfection, of course. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself with kindness and respect. Challenge negative thoughts. Try to identify and challenge unkind thoughts about yourself. You can also try practicing self-affirmations in the mirror, which is my fave. Avoid comparing yourself to others. Everyone is different and at different stages of their lives. Forgive yourself. Acknowledge and accept past mistakes so you can move forward. Get to know yourself. Consider what makes you happy, what you value in life. Recognize your self-worth, understand, accept, and love yourself. Set boundaries. Create boundaries between yourself and others to define what is healthy and acceptable for you. Self-worth is about how you value yourself at the core and whether you believe you are worthy of love, kindness, and respect. It's based upon your opinions and beliefs about yourself, which can be shaped by early experiences and challenging situations in life. Interesting, right? So when I type in how to value, let's go back, your business, there isn't even an AI tidbit about how to value your business. Those types of things require attorneys. And now I'm on Google, and if I continue to go down, it literally says how to value your business quickly. How much is my business worth in sales with $500,000 in sales? Determining your business's market value. 6 methods and examples. It says, let's go. This is from Harvard. It says, book value. One of the most straightforward methods of valuing a company is to calculate its book value using information based upon a balance sheet. Anyone who has ever filed business taxes knows that you always have a balance sheet which talks about your assets and your liabilities, and also will help you determine, your owner's equity. Anytime that you bring this forward when you're doing your taxes, you bring this forward to your guy, and it always has your company's assets and liabilities. Discounted cash flow. Another method for valuing a company is with discounted cash flow. This technique is highlighted in Leading with Finance as the gold standard of valuation. Discounted cash flow analysis is the process of estimating the value of a company or investment based upon the money or cash flows is expected to generate in the future. Discounted cash flow analysis calculates the present value of future cash flows based upon the discounted rate and time period of analysis. So discounted cash flow is terminal cash flow divided by 1 plus the cost of capital, number of years in the future. The benefit of a discounted cash flow analysis is that it reflects the company's ability to generate liquid assets. The challenge of this valuation, however, is in its accuracy. All right, blah, blah, blah. Market capitalization is one of the simplest measures of a publicly traded company's value. It's calculated by multiplying the total number of shares by the current share price. I love that because I'm really into stocks. Thank you to Harvard Business School for this. Enterprise value. The value is calculated by combining a company's debt and equity and then subtracting the cash amount not used to fund business operations. Enterprise value equals debt plus equity minus cash. I remember taking a accounting class in high school and I hated it. There were a couple things that make no sense to me because they start going into like the examples. They mention Tesla quickly. So it says how to determine what your business is worth in less than 5 minutes by one of my faves ever, which is Forbes. And it says asset method, income method, market method. And so it says, here's an example. Net profit $100,000. Owner salary is $50,000. Add back expenses $50,000. These must be documented and justified. SDE $200,000, which is $100,000 plus $50,000 plus $50,000. Now for the valuation is $200,000. Market multiple 2.28. Fair market valuation $456,000 because that is 200,000 times 2.28. And that's pretty much all. But again, this is all about valuing your business or yourself. It's not necessarily about how much you're truly worth based upon your IP. Because I may say like, yeah, I may not have enough cash on hand. I may be cash poor, but my business is not poor because it is valued at X based upon its IP. So the question really is, if white people are able to value their businesses and say that they're billionaires on Forbes list and have X amount of dollars, what do black people do? We're still on that same standard. I did a recent speech about how Forbes had 2 black billionaires on there this year. Love how they weeded out everybody else, right? You got Jay-Z's, Puffy's, and Oprah's. They're no longer on there anymore. There was a time when I remember Oprah had reached $1 billion and it was a really big deal, because of Harpo Studios. And then she penned a deal for the OWN network and immediately doubled her net worth. Think about Diddy. He's an entertainment mogul. And then next thing you know, he moved into the spirits avenue, right? Ciroc, De Leon. I'm sure he has a ton of real estate, probably even some private planes. Those all go to your net worth value. But we know that he's in the news. So what do you think started happening to him? Some of those deals are no longer valid. So that removes your valuation. We know that he had the Revolt network. Again, also pushing him into further billionaire status. It seems as if you own a television network, you add $1 billion onto your net worth no matter what. So think about all of these things, because while you and I may not always have them, what is the amount of your 401k? What is the appraised value of your real estate? What is the appraised value of your cars? What is the appraised value of your jewelry? This is why it's important. If you're gifted with an engagement ring, because it is a gift, if you're gifted with an engagement ring and in some states you have to give it back, let's say that ring was worth $10,000. That adds to your net worth. Do you understand? I hope that makes sense. So to me, as an author, I have 4 printed copies and 8 digital copies. I own a trademark. At one point I had 50 domain names for free as fuck. So what would the valuation of that be? So on an individual basis, at one point, those 50 domain names were up to $56,000 worth of value because domain names are online real estate. So while people were buying houses, I was buying domain names. Mad funny. And you really have to understand that these things all matter. So what is your net worth? Who told you that that is the value that you put on your self? We need to find out how much we value ourselves. You heard the list that I had read about what they said self-value is, because I know I do all of those things, so that means that my value is high. When you have high value in self, you come with a lot of confidence as well. I don't care if people talk about me. I've always had a thick skin. I've been bullied as a kid. I probably was bullied in school for 2 years. My bully almost got me left back because I was missing so much school in third grade. And I tell this story often. My dad ended up having to come to the school, and sometimes people are accustomed to seeing moms. So during our meeting, my dad came instead, and my dad knew the principal. He was actually his basketball coach in high school. So now I got the instant plug. He like, oh, this is your daughter? Oh, nah, she good. You could go. And I never got into a fight ever again after that until 7th grade when I lived in Florida and they didn't like the New Yorker in me. But people didn't know I knew how to box. They knew that I was skinny. They didn't know I had a thuggish, ruggish brother who used to slap box us, teach us how to put up our dukes, if you will. He taught us how to, shout out to the Dukes family though. He taught us how to, get into position. So if somebody want that, you ready. I even did kickboxing as an adult. People always say you should do some self-defense classes. I do got a lot of self-defense. It's called, because if you run up, I promise that you ain't gonna leave looking done up. That's my favorite part. So it's like thinking about how you have to put that value in yourself. If I had to add knowing how to defend myself to my personal value, I'm definitely going to add that. Do you understand? You have to think about all of these things. And I don't know why me thinking about when I met Troy and Rashad this year in July at a wealth summit, being in the room, operating with them, watching them connect with women and that I'm now connected to is glorious. Do you know what I mean? And at the same time, the power of manifesting, because I had been watching these people from 2019 on Instagram, because in 2018, when I started trading stocks, I was like, how do I find Black people who speak like me, look like me, can break down the lingo for me in a way that I overstand and can apply to my everyday life? And when I looked that up, there were two people that popped up, and it was the Underground Railroad with Brother Rich, Red Pill, Blue Pill, which is more like the occult, metaphysics, understanding Pan-Africanism, super Black power, and valuing yourself in the physical and in the spiritual. So I totally needed that. And then because that's teaching you about currency in another realm, in another vibration. And if you want to break it down to biblical stance, the Bible talks about how you should sell all of your wealth and then do God's work, because he's going to work in your life. When you ask God to come into your life, that is what usually happens. You tend to see people for who they are. You start losing friends. You tend to start losing your riches and glory and wealth. And you realize that you never really needed all of those things. Then you start focusing on yourself and going inside and channeling that energy into you, because at the end of the day, you are the one who matters most. It is what you do and what God does through you that will reflect to others, which is why you have to continue to pour into yourself, continue to pour in that high value, allow you to heal yourself internally and then externally so that God can move through you, because you cannot move through somebody who isn't susceptible to the information that you're providing. Do you know what I mean? Or receptive to the information that somebody is providing you. So it's very, very important for you to understand, where you are individually and where you put the value in yourself. I often talk about the frequency of emotions, and if you type it in your favorite search engine, you'll see this chart of colors. It almost looks like your chakras, and at the bottom they talk about shame, and at the top is enlightenment. And it's really just a scale of vibration. Do you operate in your lower vibrations, your root sacral energy, for the main key chakras? Or are you operating in your heart, throat, crown energy? So you have to value yourself on that scale to see how open you are for God to move in your life. And then I found Earn Your Leisure. I don't think they did have a website when I first met them, but they had a podcast, more importantly, that I still, listen to this very day, 5-6 years almost later. And thinking about that impact that they had on my life as an individual, because now I was in a position to start saving. Now I was in a relationship, and that comes with its perks. All of the weight doesn't fall on you individually, which is why you call the person that you're with your partner, because you two are coming together to share your worlds together. So while my accounts may have looked one way the previous year, now that I'm in a romantic relationship, I have more now to invest. And that's going to be good for my home, because later on down the line, guess what's going to happen? Something happens to Bay, and he's going to be like, hey, do you have X dollars, that, we need to do this, that, and the third? And I'd be like, yeah, babe, give me a couple of days. I might got to transfer some money or do this, that, and the third, because now I have that liquidity to be able to value myself higher in this white man's world. And this is why I'm talking about a lot of different things at the same time, but I'm hoping there are some gems for somebody in here. And this is why it's so important for you to understand how to operate in this white man's world. Because when that shit flipped back to the indigenous people of color, how are they going to operate in our world? Oh, I know, because we've had to operate so long on a spiritual currency. They've operated so long on a physical currency, fiat, fake physical currency. They will have no idea how to operate in our world, because our ancestors locked arms with us and told us that after this curse is broken, you will see. And don't think that the curse is going to be an immediate effect. 400 years is not no small effect. You know what I mean? 400 years is a long time. It is 4 centuries, 4 centennials. Do you really think that Babylon is going to crumble in one day? No. We have to sit back and watch this crumble, because we could see it slowly crumbling. There are OGs that have said consistently, many different people consistently say to me, I've never seen the world this bad in my entire life. They're in their 60s. This is why we're losing our elders. They don't even know how to survive in this world. They don't want to survive in this world. And this is why I say a lot, you need to think about who you are, what you do, why it's important to continue to put value in yourself, continue to learn your spiritual power, continue to awaken. The more people awaken, that will in turn create a revolution. Don't think that for 1 minute the color of your skin will determine if you get to the next realm or not. It doesn't. Your soul is what matters. Sure, we cannot trust these people. You understand? I'm always going to go for my people first. And I pray that they do the same too. Because I'm going to trust somebody who looks like me over somebody who looks like them because of history. Not even anything else, just because of history. History repeats itself and it does not lie like numbers don't. So, with that said, I want my people to continue to awaken because I had said in a speech a couple months ago about the importance of us being spiritual, the importance of us having family ancestor altars. Sure, I can do it by myself, but I know I don't need to. The fact is, I need more people in my bloodline to come together and say, hey, we're going to have a ceremony quarterly, annually, where we come together and honor our ancestors. If I could open up conversations and speeches and events and we're pouring libations to the ancestors, honoring our ancestors. We saw this also done at Nipsey Hussle's funeral, honoring the ancestors, his mother. You know, you have to open up certain types of ceremonies with honor to the ancestors because they walk beside us. You know, I always pray for my bloodline, even though I don't even like the motherfuckers. I'm still praying for the ones that I care for and the ones I don't. Because at the end of the day, that's my family, allegedly. I should love them through and through. They are flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. I love them, but I don't like them. But I'm still going to pray for them because praying for them lifts me up and makes me powerful. Do you understand? You need to figure out what you value yourself at. Because if you don't put any value in yourself, who is going to do it for you? Listen, nobody loves the two W's, weed and wine, more than me. But I'm also not a slave to any of those two products. At any given time, I could stop smoking. I did it all last year. And then my locks got longer and it was like, nah, Rastafari. And then Pinot Noir runs my life. But again, the only time I'm really opening up a bottle is when I'm social. If I'm going to a dinner, if I'm going to somebody's house, I'm bringing a bottle with me. You know, I'm not a slave to these things. There are too many alcoholics around us right now who need, you know. Don't allow these spirits to take over your life. If you just want like a nightcap to kick back to get you in like a relaxed state because your job is fucking psychotic, cool. A glass of wine doesn't do anything wrong to you. In fact, a red glass of wine a night is good for your heart, which is how I started it. And then I started taking beet gummies because it does the same thing. And it helps you recover your muscles faster. So when I'm training, you know, that's what I'm taking so that my muscles are recovering much quicker. But please place higher value on yourself. Put yourself on your to-do list. I always say during the wintertime, you really see how people really love and trust themselves. You know, are they always out on the go? Do they always need to be in some nigga face? You know, do they always need to be hunching on something? Speaking for the men and women, you know, how much do you value yourself? that if you're giving so much of your energy out to others all the time, if you have so much anxiety because you cannot sit with your own self, that is a problem. People don't sleep. There is a young lady that I watch on YouTube, Fire Energy, bro. She is the dopest. And I've watched her confidence grow in just 3 months, because when you see that you provide value to people and they join in to watch you, however often you post on YouTube, that gives you a certain type of confidence, as we said already. So think about the value that you're pouring into yourself. How much do you truly value yourself? How much are you worth? What is your net worth? What value are you placing on your self-worth, and your net worth? How much are you genuinely worth? If you had to put a dollar amount on the vibe that you bring, you have to remember, if you are self-made such as I, and if you have truly contributed to the masses of society in ways that made them rich physically or energetically, more importantly, you cannot place a value on that type of wealth. You've saved a soul. Chosen ones. How much value do you place on yourself because you were ordained by the Most High for such a time as this? How much value do you place on yourself because you have been ordained by the Most High for such a time as this? Whatever you do, become free as fuck.